Well, it's done. Six Nations is done for another year. And, right, spoiler alert. If you're trying to avoid the result, then the result is coming in 3, 2. Congratulations, Ireland, on a Grand Slam, on an incredible achievement. On the first time you've managed to do it on home soil, it's going to be one heck of a night. Paddy's Day weekend, and an incredible rugby team that you have got to salute. I really enjoyed that game, which was... I'm emotionally exhausted, though, as an England fan. Whew. So this is going to be my initial thoughts. So the final whistle's just gone. I've not even seen all the celebrations or anything yet. They haven't. Literally, the whistle's just gone. So I'm just going to give you my initial thoughts, and then what I'll do is I'll come back with some more gathered thoughts in a little bit. But it was a proper test match, that one. It was at times low on quality, but massively high on tension, and you could see that those nerves all of a sudden creeping in. The Aviva Stadium was at this cauldron of sound before the game, during the anthems, at the kickoff, and then 5-10 minutes in, it was eerily quiet, and you just thought, and with all the scars, emotional scars that Ireland fans have gathered over the years from World Cup quarterfinals and such, you sort of thought you could feel them going, oh no, not this again, not this again. And at times I felt Ireland played like it was a Rugby World Cup quarter-final. But I think that image there tells a picture. A lot of respect for two teams that went head-to-head. And today's a day for... Games like this are a day for big names, big men, big characters. And Johnny Sexton is absolutely one of those. And if that is, as we expect, his final Six Nations game, what a man. And it's quite fitting in a way that, and I hope he's all right. It looked like a bit of an adductor type injury, or that's what the commentators said. Although I don't know if you thought it looked like Johnny Sexton was grabbing a different part of his body as he walked off. And it would be quite fitting if Johnny Sexton had to walk off on his final Six Nations game, winning the Grand Slam, Triple Crown, becoming the biggest point scorer in the competition's history. If he had to leave the field because his cojones were too big, because he had a pair today, that's for sure. But Ireland had to weather a storm, didn't they? And I'm an Englishman, and I'm proud of my team's performance, of England's performance, and I think that was... I won't say that was no, it probably isn't unreasonable to say that was mainly the only expectation. There was very little expectation of a win after last week's game against France, but there was an expectation of heart and desire and attitude, and England gave that. They absolutely did, and they looked good from minute one. And I think that man there in that image, Owen Farrell, he led the team today. He was a captain more so than... Quite often he appears quite niggly and quite tetchy with referees and stuff. I thought he was a proper leader today. He was kicking his goals. He was assured. He was in control, and he was giving Ireland some nerves. Let me jump back. Just on Owen Farrell, actually, and Andy Farrell, who deserves massive congratulations, and what an achievement for him as a coach. The way that those two, Andy Farrell and Owen Farrell, deal with the situation of going head-to-head. Now, you get the impression it's kind of no big deal for them. They're used to it now. But the amount of media attention and scrutiny it gets, I'm just impressed with how they just deal with it and take it in their stride. And I did think Andy Farrell should have made Owen's kids mascots, though, because there was all the shots of Owen Farrell's kids at the Ireland team run. The other thing, on days like this, you have all that atmosphere and tension, the team's coming out, the crowd, and then you have Michael D. Higgins coming around and shaking everyone's hand and just taking the atmosphere completely out of the game. And also just... No, I don't. I want to stay positive. I'll save the more chat for later on. It just seemed like Dublin was an amazing place to be. Early stages, like I say, England. Kevin Sinfield's been talking about changing England's defence, and in previous games, it looks like part of that new defence was being a little bit more passive. It seemed like today they'd just gone, right, factory reset, just get off the line and go and hit someone, and that rattled Ireland, and they put more pressure on at the breakdown. And I think that was a big part of why England were more competitive and making those nerves quieten down in those early stages. Farrell was kicking well, even when there was like a vuvuzela, what it sounded like in the crowd trying to put him off. Haven't seen one of those since the South Africa Football World Cup. Hugo Keenan making his once in a season mistake in this game today. So there were a lot of things that were going, making Ireland fans feel a bit worried. But Johnny Sexton got that settler with a penalty, and then where were we? Yeah, the Dan Sheehan try. That guy is like a rugby cheat code, isn't he? He's an absolute freak. Disappointed from a defensive point of view of that try for England. Just a first phase pop back inside from Josh van der Fleer, but clearly one of those that's been worked on a lot in the training ground. Alex Donbrandt probably should have been there, but fair play. A bit of deception is all it took, and Ireland scored, and I think that was it. That was the teams that, like, Ireland weren't at their best, but when big moments were needed, big players stepped forward, and today that was Dan Sheehan on a couple of occasions. England had a high penalty count, which didn't help them, and we can briefly talk about that red card decision. Felt a little bit sorry for Freddie Stewart. I don't know about you. I'm blocking Dan Sheehan there. Got to give Dan Sheehan his moment of glory. Sorry, Dan. There you go, fella. Freddie Stewart. Oh, I don't really want to moan about the referee on this. Maybe I'll save that for the next video. I'll just headline it by saying that I don't like it when bad luck gets given a red card, because Freddie Stewart, that was bad luck. I don't know what you expect him to do, and if that was an Ireland player, I'd be saying exactly the same. I don't know exactly what you expect a player to do trying to get out of the way, and it feels like Freddie Stewart got given a red card for bad luck. Excuse me a second. Can you be quiet, please? Can you be quiet, please? Sorry. Thank you. Sorry, family. Not respecting the work or the channel. By the way, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't hit subscribe already, please do. Buzzing that I'm over 10,000. Let's see where we can get this thing. Yeah. Freddie Stewart being penalised for bad luck. Don't like that. I don't like that at all. But I guess the point here is this is going to happen in a Rugby World Cup, isn't it? And in that sense, that experience that England have got of coping against a very good team in a pressure cooker with 14 men could really stand them in good stead. And this is something that teams are going to have to prepare for. And on that front, it feels like that's why this Ireland team are so good, because any given situation they're thrown into, the hive mind kicks in, they know exactly what they're doing, they're all on the same page, and they go. And even when things are starting to go wrong, they have enough calmness to just get through and do the job and make the difference today. And we saw that again. Now, 14 men against 15 doesn't necessarily affect the game. In fact, we've seen lots of times where it doesn't affect the result. And I'm not suggesting for a minute that the result would have been different with a different without that red card for Freddie Stewart. But I did think it was harsh. Yeah, enough on that for now. Let's focus on the positives. Ireland were making in the second half some tentative play, and they were making some mistakes, and that was mitigating having the extra man. It was the point when the commentator said, I think it was Gordon Darcy said, well, the impact of the bench is going to be pivotal. And then I thought, our bench isn't great. And as it proved, Ireland, the longer the game went on, they put their foot on the jugular in the end. Although some of their big players didn't have great games today, did they? James Lowe wasn't at his best. I think him and Mac Hansen have been brilliant in this tournament, but they maybe didn't show up the way you expect. Tadhg Furlong got penalised a bit at scrum time, looked a bit off the pace. Jameson Gibson-Park at sometimes, unexpectedly made some tentative decisions. A bit of nerve and a bit of niggle going on. I love the bit of niggle between Ben Curry and Andrew Porter. I mean, there's only going to be one winner there. I wouldn't want to take Andrew Porter on, but fair play to Ben Curry for trying. Yeah. But on days like this, it doesn't matter. No one in years to come is going to remember anything other than the result and the fact that Ireland claimed their Grand Slam today, which is a massive achievement. Robbie Henshaw's try. I mean, that was again. I don't want to emphasise the decisions, because listen, when I say this, I'm not saying that it would have made a difference on the result or that I think there was any bias or anything. There absolutely was not. But on the Robbie Henshaw try, Anthony Watson, there was a penalty against him for a high tackle. And then moments later, it looked to me like Ben Curry was hit high by Johnny Sexton, but that was given a turnover to Ireland. So yeah, hey, these things happen. It's decisions, and you have to deal with it. And Ireland dealt with it. Dan Sheehan scored another try, and that was that. What else can I say? Grand Slam winners. Incredible rugby team. Not at their best, but still finding a way to win. But then they've done that a bunch of times before. And that's what really impresses me about this Ireland team. They win in different ways. Against Australia in the autumn, they weren't at their best, found a way to win with third choice fly half kicking the winning points, wasn't it, that day? You have days where they're against France and they blow teams off the park and they just play at an intensity that no one can keep up with. You have games like today where they're not at their best and they just manage to pull enough good bits of play together to keep the opposition at arm's length, well, to get themselves to arm's length and then keep them there. And that is what is so impressive about this Ireland team. They the mental fortitude of this team is beyond question and is seriously impressive and is what you need. I mean, and this is why the Six Nations is so, and this is why getting a Grand Slam is so massive for Ireland. Not just because it's an incredible achievement that happens so rarely, but because in a Rugby World Cup, particularly in Ireland's pool, where you've got to play South Africa and Scotland, and particularly on Ireland's half of the draw, where you come out of your pool stage and you've got to play New Zealand or France, most likely. That is the perfect, what we've just witnessed over the last 7 weeks, is the perfect preparation for Ireland's World Cup bid, because they're going to have to do what they've just done in the Six Nations again in the World Cup, and they've demonstrated that they can. You're going to have to back it up week on week on week on week, find ways to win, not play well and still win, play well and win the big game when it really matters, and just do enough. And Ireland always seem to just do enough, and that has been something which is not a case of today. It's not a case of the last month. It's a case of a significant period of time, and that is an incredibly impressive thing. So Dublin's going to be absolutely bouncing, and I hope all of Ireland and Northern Ireland is as well. Deservedly so. I can tell you, living in Manchester, that St. Patrick's Day was very well observed in Manchester. Big Irish contingent, and I know that there's a lot of locals going to be doing some great trade this evening, and richly deserved. Well done. Well done, first and foremost. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe, leave your comments, tell me how you feel, try and capture where your head's at, and I will have a bit more in-depth thoughts on both England and Ireland and the other teams that are in the Six Nations coming up very soon. Until then, get on it, and I'll see you on the next video.